Hi everyone, in this video we are going to be going over iMachining 2D using roughing and finishing. So we are going to rough and finish the outside of the part, then we will do the main center pocket, rough and finish, and then we will follow up and do the small pocket with the same rough and finish, but we will have to use a smaller end mill to do the corner finishing. So let's get started. So let's add our 2D iMachining operation. So we are going to use outside machining. We're going to go select our tool. The first tool we are going to use is tool number 1, which is the roughing end mill. I'm going to make a couple changes here. I want to machine down to the bottom of our part, but I want to go another 1 millimeter beyond. And since we are machining the outside, I'm going to set my floor offset to 0. Then I'm going to select the finishing tool, which is tool number 2. And to enable finishing of the wall, all we have to do is click the checkbox for finish wall. If we calculate this operation, we're going to first get the roughing tool path with one tool, and then we are going to get the finishing tool path with the second tool. So there is the roughing, which is the blue toolpath lines, and then the finishing, which is one finish pass around the wall. Since it's an outside, it doesn't need any preparatory toolpath. Now let's do the same thing for the center pocket here. So once again, add a 2D iMachining operation. This time, instead of choosing outside, we're going to pick the floor. We're going to select the same set of tools again. So tool number 1. And then we're going to go pick tool number 2, which is our finishing tool. And since this is an actual pocket, we're going to tell it to finish the wall and the floor. And that's all we have to do. We can calculate these two operations. And here we have the roughing. As we can see, helical enters down into the pocket. So there's the roughing we see there. We see the blue region of what it found to machine. And then this is the finishing of the walls and the floors. And you can see on the finished floor, we're doing a contour style toolpath. And last, what we want to do is do the exact same thing on this semi-open pocket here. So we'll pick our face. We're going to go pick our tools. Now what's nice, when I pick this 10 millimeter tool, you can see in the prismatic region that it shows what it can machine. The tool cannot fit into these corners. So I'm just going to go continue picking. We'll go pick the finishing tool for the walls and floors, and we're going to say, finish walls and floors with that 10 millimeter. And then last, we just need to follow up with our 4 millimeter tool, which will allow us to finish in just the corners, the walls, and the floors. Let's calculate this operation. So once again, in multi-tool, this is sharing all the same geometry and technology parameters, but you can change feed, speed, step overs, and things like that for each operation in each tool. So if we look here, we can see we have the roughing toolpath, which is just doing the first roughing. Then we have the finished floor. Since we have a corner that would over-engage the tool when we finish the wall, iMachining does its preparatory work and iFinish to finish out those areas. And then the last toolpath is the rest machining with the 4 millimeter that does the corners. Now let's go take a look and see what this looks like in the SolidCAM simulator. We can make this full screen. Now I'm using the SolidCAM simulator in machining time mode, and I've chose equal playback, and I set each operation's time to be 8 seconds. So now when we play this, we'll get a nice review of each operation, which is listed down in the bottom bar, taking 8 seconds. So the first thing we have is the face milling toolpath. That is clearing off the top of our part. Then we have the roughing of the outside with the tool number 2, which is the rougher. And then we have the finishing toolpath for the outside wall. Next comes the roughing toolpath for the center pocket. Then we're going to do the finishing of the walls and the floors with tool number 2 for that center pocket. And then the last thing we have is the semi-open pocket. And we have the roughing tool roughing. We have the 10mm finishing tool finishing the walls and the floors, but it's not able to get all the way into the corners. So then we come back in with our 4mm tool and finish in just the corners. And that does finishing of the floor and the wall, because as we zoom in here, you can see that there's material it has to clean up on the floor and the wall. And if we just do a quick comparison of sock and target, we can see the part is completely finished, outside of the flipping it over and machining the backside. And in the next video, I'll go over optimizations for this part.